Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, your lovely faces, to the part 2 of the summary judgment reply from Elaine. So let's jump back into it. Obviously, we were talking about Mr. Devonair, where she was like, oh, I was pressured, I was all of this, I was that and the other. But we've gone 5 pages in, and so far there's no evidence. So, Mr. Waldman was clear that he was performing this work on behalf of Mr. Depp, and that it was Mr. Depp who told Mr. Waldman her allegations were a hoax. For example, Mr. Waldman wrote to one witness, Johnny Depp's lawyer, Adam Waldman here, I know from Johnny, as with other hoax claims, where we have multiple eyewitnesses, that it was her who did this to Johnny. Okay, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Again, they're trying to put little things in here to be like, oh my god, look what he said! Oh my god! It's like, come on. Really, Elaine? Stop padding it out. It's 18 pages, which this could have been literally like 6 pages. And it does go on to say, Mr. Waldman writes to another witness, as discussed with Debbie and then with Johnny, we can send you a friendly subpoena if it helps alleviate any concerns about legally compelled. What's wrong with that? He's saying we can protect you with this subpoena, you're under oath, that's what we got. And it does go on to say, as part of the campaign to smear her, Mr. Waldman and Mr. Depp also contacted the media to falsely call her a liar and a hoax artist. This not only included the mainstream media, but also social media accounts, including that Umbrella guy, that Brian fella, and the real Loralie Dee, which regularly do this to her. Yeah, this is how dumb and how desperate her and her team are. Literally calling out YouTubers and people on Twitter. That is it, literally. So, Tug is like any of us, we just do videos on it, that's it. They've gone after Tug because he has a very high subscriber count. That's what it is. And he can get the people to see everything, which is fantastic, which is what we need. And it's like, all he's done is like, well, no, I've just put out there what's public information, which we've all done, That Brian fella, they're only going after Brian because Brian put out the audio, which everyone has seen and everyone has heard, and like, wow, she really is the horrible person that she is. And Laura, she's put out court documents. Public court documents. That's all she's done. She hasn't said anything nasty or anything like that, which, could get her into trouble. Just can't, none of them have done it. This is how, that's how desperate that these people are getting. Anyway, it does go on to say, Mr. Waldman also regularly tweeted about the facts of this case, the counterclaim and AH, until his Twitter account was revoked for life for his conduct. Yeah, that's because for Twitter, someone is friends with AH there, because again, that's been found out. Adam Waldman went out with actual facts, and people decided to, we're going to report him, we don't like this, he's telling everyone in the world how horrible she really is. November 2018, Mr. Depp invited the GQ journalist to interview him to provide the truth that Johnny Depp wants to hear, because according to Mr. Heath, Depp was angry about a lot of things, and he's vengeful. It's almost like Batman in the new one, and vengeance. Mr. Depp falsely alleged that there was no truth to her judicial statements whatsoever, which we have seen. We've all put it together. We've gone over the Andy files. Andy is just brilliant. He sends us the documents, and just speaking with Andy behind the scenes via email and everything else, and it's just so good because everything is just so well done. He goes through everything, he looks at everything, and he dissects it brilliantly, And again, they just don't like it because there's no one on her team who are supporting her who are doing this, which you actually find a lot in this type of case with a lot of these issues, where people who are defending the person who has tons of evidence. They have YouTubers who are looking into it, you have normal people, you have people on Twitter, but when the person who is being accused of being the hoax artist, so AH, Evan Rachel Wood, for example, Monica Rial, Jamie Markey, and all these, the last 2 are anime voice actors, which is what I've covered in the past. And with all of this, they haven't got anyone who's on YouTube. They haven't got anyone who does anything like that. All they do is go on Twitter, they dox people, they say horrible and nasty things about people, and then when you give them evidence and you give them the facts, they report you. And then they block you, and then they say horrible things behind the block button because they can't say it to their faces. That's what they're like. All they know how to do is attack. That's all they know what to do. It does go on to say, obviously, that, going on, she fabricated the bruising on her face and perjured herself in connection, which is very true. You got a photo of her coming out of the police with the bruise on her face by here, and everyone's like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? But again, she's like, they all said to me, why did you do this to him? Why have you done that to him? It's like, no, everyone's asking if you're okay. There's video evidence of that. But then, the next day, she's laughing and smiling with Rocky and all these other people, and there's nothing on her face. Not even makeup. But it does go on, as you can see. Mr. Depp then used Mr. Wallman to further the perjury lie. Mr. Wallman informed a German outlet that the LAPD in Australia are actively pursuing a criminal investigation against her. But the LAPD was not investigating AH for perjury or any other crime activity, which Mr. Wallman now admits. Has he? Where? Because we do know that Australia are looking into her. We know this for a fact. In fact, the only evidence of this supposed investigation was that Mr. Wallman brought a binder of info to the LAPD and asked them to investigate AH. Elaine, you're 7 pages in and you're not giving any evidence. Come on. April 12th, 2019, Mr. Wallman accused AH of committing a hoax as well as committing defamation, perjury, and filing and receiving a fraudulent temporary restraining order. Demand with the court. By accusing AH of not being attacked by there, the article attributed these quotes to Depp's lawyer. The defamation, Mr. Depp through Adam Waldman, oh, here we go, I've lost it, no, continued when in June 2019 he stated that AH continues to defraud her victim, Mr. Depp, the movement she masquerades as the leader of, and other victims worldwide, 100%. You know, we've seen the people who were the Me Too movement, they've stepped down because they were swindling money for themselves. They were paying all these actresses millions of dollars. They were paying them $50,000 to $60,000 to $70,000 to come and speak. Yeah, some Activision. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, we're all for them. Pay me my money before I step on stage. Okay. So it does go on to say that the previous article, the quote was attributed to Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman. July 2nd, 2019, Mr. Depp threw Mr. Wallman to a blast that AH went to court with painted on this to obtain a temporary restraining order. The next day, Mr. Wallman continued Mr. Depp's defamation of her when he stated to People magazine that AH's this was a hoax. Both articles describe Mr. Wallman as Depp's attorney. And Mr. Depp through Mr. Wallman continued to claim that she was committing perjury when he stated to the Daily Mail, April 8th, 2020, 2 years ago, that AH and her friends in the media use this as both a sword and shield depending on their needs. Sadly, this is now true. They have selected some of her hoax facts as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. The article attributed the quote to Adam Wallman, Depp's lawyer. Previously, Wallman and Depp met with the Daily Mail to leak partial audio recordings of the two. Mr. Wallman testified specifically that Mr. Depp was with me when we had this meeting. Mr. Wallman's pro-hag vice admission in this case was revoked for leaking confidential information. Then, on April 27th, 2020, Mr. Depp, again using Mr. Wallman as a conduit, told the Daily Mail that quite simply this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. Very true. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, which they did, and left after seeing no damage to anything. So her and her friends spilled a little wine, roughed the place up, got this story straight under the direction of a lawyer and publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. Like all other articles, the quote was attributed to Depp's lawyer, Adam Waldman. We know all this because what Adam has said is actually true, because we have seen the depositions of the two police Officer Signs, and I can't remember the other guy's name, I do apologise, when they were the first lot. Then the second lot came with the body cam footage, and nothing was out of place. Nothing was wrong. She was on the sofa next to her friends, and you could see she was a little bit pissed off because when they said, who's Amber? And she went, me? So like, oh, I'm sorry, are we meant to know who you are? You know? And then you got Josh Drew like, oh, I'm the big ad man in my socks and sandals. You know, going on, oh, yeah, he's not here, trust me. He left ages ago. Right, okay. You know, it's so many things. Again, in the Andy files, we went over it. But the body cam footage is there. It shows nothing was wrong. And then you said, they looked through everything. Oh, we did this, we did that. You didn't. You lied. The body cam footage shows it. You know what? Sometimes I really do think that these people, I think to myself, they can't be that dumb. They can't be this stupid, really. You can't be like this. But they are. So going on, obviously Adam Waldman's lawyer, going on. Finally, June 24th, 2020, Miss Depp, again through Mr. Waldman, falsely accused her in the Daily Mail of committing the hoax. The article stated that the quote was from Depp's attorney. Mr. Waldman's statements came from him directly and through Mr. Depp's longtime publicist, Robin Baum, who forwarded Mr. Waldman's statements on behalf of Mr. Depp to outlets. For each of the defamatory statements at issue, Mr. Waldman refused to answer any questions based on privilege. Did you make that statement on behalf of Mr. Depp? Why did you make the statement? Were you representing Mr. Depp at the time you made your statement? Did you discuss the statement with Mr. Depp before making the statement? Did you discuss this statement with Mr. Depp after making it? Was Mr. Depp aware either before or after that you were making this statement? Stop going on about these things. Just make one sentence out of it all. Did you make the statement going on? Obviously, look at it all. Literally. Waldman here. Mr. Depp also refused to answer the same question. Literally. So from here, you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 9 lines, which would have been in 2 lines. But again, no, Chewbacca defense, padding it out, making people go, what the hell is going on? This is what she does because they haven't got any evidence going into this. This is like Andrea said, it's time to put up or shut up. They haven't put up anything. Going on here, we're reliable, Mr. refused. The evidence is clear that Mr. Depp was well aware of Mr. Waldman's activities on Mr. Depp's behalf. When Mr. Depp's manager told Mr. Depp this, Mr. Depp responded, Mr. Depp is responsible for these actions. How? Elaine, how is he responsible? You're not telling us how he is responsible. Come on. Then it goes into the legal standing, which we aren't going to bypass all of this, where it basically says to grant the motion for the summary judgment of what they're going. Basically, again, more padding. Well, we need this. If you want to do this, this is what the law says. So, an entire page and a half so far. Now you're getting into the argument on page 11. Mr. Depp is liable for the actions of his agent, Mr. Waldman. The Supreme Court recognises that if a principal instructs his agent to make a public statement defaming the reputation of another person, the principal can be sued for defamation. Recognising that defamation liability may be founded upon statements made by an authorised agent, which she said in the first bloody page. Again, like I said, this is the argument now. So we have gone 11 pages. 10 pages, without the first one. And she's just like, look what Mr. Waldman's did, you judge. I'm throwing my toys out of my pram. Look what he's done. Okay, get to the argument. But this is what he said. Get to the argument. But he said this. Get to the argument. But he also said this. Get to the argument. Elaine, you need to get to the argument. Because everyone is going to be looking at this and going, yeah, you may have just actually given people just like, oh my God, just shut up. Just tell me what's going on. Condense it. This is what you need to do. So it does go on to say agency is defined as a fiduciary relationship arising from the man's... Again, saying that he's responsible, but then going into an entire page of nothing regarding Johnny Depp. Say, labels matters. The only case cited by Depp on the issue is this. An entire page of nothing. Now we're in the second page. An agency going on. Okay, nothing about Depp, nothing about Depp, nothing about Depp. Nothing about Depp and Waldman. Nothing there, no evidence. Okay, nothing there, nothing there. Oh, look, here we go. We get to a little bit halfway down. The facts in this case more than establish that Mr. Waldman was Mr. Depp's agent and was authorised to make the statements at issue on behalf of Depp. Both Waldman and Depp concede that Mr. Waldman has been Mr. Depp's attorney since October 2016. Yeah, public knowledge as well. That Mr. Waldman has represented Depp in all of his matters, including this action and the UK action. Yes, public knowledge. The only representations that Mr. Waldman refused to answer based on supposed privilege grounds is whether he represented Depp when he made the statements at issue. Right, okay, so page 12, halfway down, is when she actually starts saying something regarding it. The refusal to answer those questions is improper. No, it's not, because the fact of representation is not within the privilege. It is. Indeed, it is necessary preliminary fact to be established before any privilege can be asserted. Nevertheless, despite the improper refusal to answer these questions, the evidence shows that each article quoted Mr. Waldman as representing Depp, as each stated the quotes came from Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman. He's a lawyer, he can go out and he can speak about things. Again, public knowledge. It's really funny, you know, because we have seen her lawyers go out and do the exact same thing. They've gone out, oh no, she didn't give the money, she pledged the money. You know, this happened, she's doing this against Mr. Depp, doing that against Mr. Depp. You're doing exactly the same, Elaine, come on. Furthermore, the evidence demonstrates that Mr. Waldman gathered false declarations on his behalf, claimed that there was a perjury investigation, which there is, AH on Mr. Depp's behalf, and leaked partial audio recordings on behalf of Mr. Depp, while in Mr. Depp's presence. And you're going on, all these, Mr. Depp stated, Mr. Depp is asking this court to believe he gave Mr. Waldman the authority to do everything on his behalf except make the defamatory statements at issue. Such argument defies logic, and given that the agency relationship has been established, whether Mr. Waldman was permitted such authority is a matter that should be resolved by the finder of fact. Yeah, the jury doesn't need to see any of this. It's the judge. You know, because it's really funny, because obviously out of everything, we are going to finish the video. We have coming up to 17 minutes. But the way she has done this, it's just like, come on. You literally think a jury is going to do, oh my God, someone said bad things about you in the press. Oh my God. If that is the case, yours should be thrown out straight away. 100% your counterclaim. Because everything that you have said that has ruined your career, it's done this, it's done that. Well, Warner Brothers coming through, you know, they threw you under the bus, darling. Which is exactly what they did. But we are going to stop by here, like I said. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future updates, and I'll see each and every one of you soon.